It is my pleasure and my honor to present this award to my old hometown newspaper, the Chicago Tribune. The real Trib, as it's called, not that thing that one read your junior year abroad in Paris. For years, manufacturers have loaded foam cushions for upholstered furniture with toxic flame retardants, even though research has shown that it doesn't slow fires and is dangerous to health. These reporters from the Trib, whom we honor tonight, reveal how the chemical and tobacco industries waged a decades-long campaign to promote the use of flame-retardant furniture and thereby take our eye off the ball of the risks of cigarettes. Instead of designing a self-extinguishing cigarette, Big Tobacco pushed to have America's sofas and other furniture filled with chemicals that supposedly made them less likely to burst into flame. As research for these stories, one member of this team, Patricia Callahan, sifted through 13 million documents that the cigarette companies had disclosed during litigation, which my firm was involved in. These memos revealed plans that showed Big Tobacco had indeed planted an operative inside a group of firefighters, the benign-sounding National Association of State Fire Marshals, to use that group to promote their flame-retardant agenda. Ms. Callahan also discovered that the chemical industry's star witness, a burn surgeon who told touching stories to legislators about a baby girl fatally burned because of a lack of flame retardant, had his own issues. Based upon a review of 16 years of county medical examiner records, it turned out the baby never existed. And by looking at tax records, she also showed that the organization sponsoring the witness, again with the benign name, the Citizens for Fire Safety Institute, was actually a front group for industry. Another member of this team, Sam Rowe, dissected studies heavily relied on by the flame retardant lobby. He tracked down one of these key studies to the National Library of Sweden, where, after it had been translated from Swedish, this much taunted study revealed that the industry's claims on flame retardants were based on 8 fires of television sets in Stockholm. A third member of the team, Michael Hawthorne, who is with us tonight, obtained documents that showed how a highly touted retardant builds up in house dust despite promises from the industry to the contrary. After this, the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission said it had never tested crib mattresses for retardants. This team from the Trib convinced the Trib to do its own testing and found that 3 popular brands of mattresses contained significant amounts of these toxic retardants. As a result of this series, flame retardants became one of the top public health issues of the year. The Senate held 2 hearings, the EPA began a broad investigation, and an industry front group exposed by this series folded. Most significantly, California announced it would scrap the rule responsible for flame retardants' presence in many U.S. homes. For this brilliant series representing investigative journalism at its finest that has indeed made a real difference, we proudly honor Patricia Callahan, Sam Rowe, and Michael Hawthorne of the Chicago Tribune by awarding them the Hillman Prize for Newspaper Journalism.
I'd like to thank the Hillman Foundation and to the judges for this prestigious award. And on behalf of myself and my colleagues who could not be here tonight, Trish Callahan and Sam Rowe, we are grateful for this recognition and honored to be in the company of such fine journalists. As you just heard a little bit about our story, it was about horrifically burned babies that don't exist, toxic chemicals that haven't been tested for health and safety, flame retardants that fail to provide any meaningful protection from fires, decades of deception and distortion from 2 of the nation's most powerful industries, Big Tobacco and Big Chemical. And like other tales of corruption and injustice, these corporations and their political allies got away with it for years. They scared the public and their elected officials with stories about babies dying in fires, stories that weren't true. They fended off questions about the safety of flame retardants, even as the evidence became too damning to ignore. And what we're finding out about these chemicals isn't good, to say the least. Not just cancer, hormone disruption, developmental delays, fertility problems. And because we have a nearly 40-year-old law that prevented the Environmental Protection Agency from even banning asbestos, a well-known carcinogen, we are stuck with a system where toxic flame retardants are replaced by chemicals that aren't tested for health effects. Often we're not even allowed to know the names and properties of these new chemicals. We don't find out about the dangers for years until scientists do the detective work and start building a case. That started to change with our investigation that we called Playing with Fire. California and Governor Jerry Brown are moving to overhaul the obscure 1975 rule that led to the widespread use of flame retardants in household furniture. By next year, we might be able to buy a new couch without pounds of these toxic, ineffective flame retardants in the cushions. Congress did take a small step when the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee last summer approved legislation to overhaul the Toxic Substances Control Act. That's the only major environmental law that hasn't been updated since the 1970s. But given the anti-EPA establishment in the Republican House and millions of dollars of lobbying by the chemical industry, change is difficult, to say the least. But officials in states like California and Washington and Maine, they read the science, and they are not afraid to take action in the face of industry distortion and deception. We're proud that our stories nudged officials to take action. Our series and the others here honored tonight show that journalism can make a difference. Newspapers can still make a difference too, no matter how we convey the news. At the Chicago Tribune, we've just emerged from a pretty dark financial period. We might be headed for another group of troublesome owners. Yet, despite what you read in the trade press, thanks to some really courageous editors who stood up to the last ownership group and are poised to do the best they can with whatever we face in the future, the Tribune's journalism has not only survived, it's thrived. And we're proud to be a part of that too. Thank you very much.